Embrace the journey, not just the dream. Let me tell you a story about a friend of mine, Sarah. Sarah had one dream: to become a successful business owner. She envisioned the freedom, the money, and the recognition. Every day, she worked tirelessly, pouring hours into planning and perfecting her vision. But along the way, she began to neglect her health, her friendships, and even her family. She skipped birthdays, missed vacations, and ignored moments that could have brought joy to her life, because she was laser focused on the dream. One day, Sarah finally achieved her goal. Her business took off. But instead of feeling fulfilled, she felt empty. Why? She realized that the moments she thought were just stepping stones, the journey, were actually the real treasures of life. Her relentless focus on the dream had cost her so much along the way. How many of us are living like Sarah, fixated on the future, missing the beauty of the now? Dreams are important, they give us direction and motivation. But here's the truth no one talks about. The journey matters just as much, if not more, than the dream itself. Why? Because life doesn't happen at the finish line. Life is what happens while you're running the race. Every step, every struggle, every small victory, it's all shaping who you are. Think about it. Have you ever reached a big goal only to feel like, is that it? That's because fulfillment doesn't come from the dream itself. It comes from the person you become and the experiences you embrace on the way to that dream. Today, we're going to explore how to shift your mindset. We'll talk about why the process is just as meaningful as the goal, how to find joy in the present, and practical ways to embrace your journey. Let me ask you something. Are you so focused on the end result that you're missing what's happening right now? Are you postponing happiness, thinking, I'll be happy when I finally achieve _? What parts of your journey are you ignoring, overlooking, or even resenting? If any of this resonates with you, don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been there, and by the end of this conversation, you'll see how powerful it is to embrace the journey, not just the dream. So, let's dive in. Get ready to uncover how to make the most of every step along the way. Understanding dreams versus journey. Defining dreams. Let's start by understanding what dreams really are. Dreams are the big picture, the goals, ambitions, and visions we hold for our future. They might look like starting a business, becoming a top athlete, writing a best-selling book, or simply achieving financial freedom. Dreams give us purpose. They're like a lighthouse, guiding us through the storms of life. But here's the problem. Society often places so much value on achieving dreams that we forget to appreciate the steps that lead us there. Think about it. When we see successful people, what do we notice? The finish line, the flashy job title, the huge house, the accolades. Social media makes it worse. A constant highlight reel of other people's achievements. It's easy to believe the lie that if you're not winning big, you're falling behind. This leads to a culture of obsession with the destination, wealth, fame, or career milestones. But what happens when you get there? Many people realize it's not what they imagined. The joy they expected doesn't last because they overlook something critical: the value of the journey. The journey explained. So, what is the journey? The journey is everything that happens between where you are now and where you want to be. It's the growth, the learning, and the transformation that occur while you're pursuing your dream. Here's the magic of the journey. It's where the real work happens. Every challenge, every failure, every lesson, it's shaping you into the person capable of handling the dream you're chasing. Without the journey, the dream means nothing. Let's look at a real-life example. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. She's celebrated as a media icon, but her journey was filled with struggles, poverty, abuse, and countless rejections. What made her success so meaningful wasn't just the dream she achieved, but the growth she experienced along the way. Her journey taught her resilience, empathy, and the ability to connect deeply with others. Here's the key. The process often brings unexpected joy and meaning. Imagine someone training for a marathon. Initially, their dream is crossing the finish line. But as they train, they discover the beauty of early morning runs, the friendships they build with other runners, and the pride that comes from seeing their body grow stronger. The journey becomes the real victory. Why we neglect the journey? Now, why is it so easy to overlook the journey? There are three big reasons. Cultural pressures. Society constantly tells us to hustle and achieve. From a young age, we're taught to aim for the top, get good grades, land a prestigious job, buy a house. It's all about the next milestone. The message is clear. If you're not achieving, you're not succeeding. Instant gratification. We live in a world where everything is immediate. Need food? Order delivery. Want entertainment? Stream it instantly. This mindset makes us impatient with long processes. When progress feels slow, we get frustrated and lose sight of the bigger picture. Comparison traps. Social media magnifies the problem. We're constantly bombarded with images of people living their best life. It's easy to compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel and feel like you're not doing enough. But here's the truth. Everyone's journey is unique. What you see online is just a snapshot, not the full story. When we give in to these pressures, we rob ourselves of the joy, growth, and fulfillment that come from living fully in the now. Lessons from embracing the journey. Lesson 1. Growth happens in the process. Growth is the hidden gift of the journey. It doesn't always look pretty. It often comes through failure, setbacks, and challenges. But these moments shape who we are. Let me share a story. There was a young entrepreneur named Mark who dreamed of launching a successful tech company. He poured all his energy into building his first product. He was so confident in his idea that he invested all his savings and quit his job. But when the product launched, it flopped. No one bought it. He felt like a failure. But here's what happened. Instead of giving up, Mark decided to analyze what went wrong. He realized he had overlooked customer feedback, so he went back to the drawing board, refined his idea, and launched a second product, this time with great success. What Mark didn't realize at the time was that the failure wasn't an end. It was part of the journey. The process taught him resilience, problem solving, and how to connect with his audience. Those lessons became the foundation for his future success. This is true for all of us. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when we're stretched, challenged, and pushed outside of our comfort zones. The journey builds the character, skills, and mindset we need to sustain our dreams when we reach them. Lesson 2. The journey is where life happens. Life isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It's happening right now in the small, everyday moments of your journey. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine someone training for a marathon. Initially, their goal might be to cross the finish line. But along the way, they experience so much more. They wake up early to run in the quiet of dawn, build friendships with other runners, and learn to push through physical and mental barriers. The finish line becomes just one part of the story. The real magic happens in the process of getting there. The same is true in everyday life. Think about the relationships you've built along the way, mentors who've guided you, friends who've supported you, and family who've cheered you on. These moments, often overlooked, are what make life rich and meaningful. Another example. Have you ever looked back on a tough period in your life and realized it was also filled with unexpected joy? Maybe you were juggling a demanding job or pursuing a degree, but in the midst of the struggle, you formed deep connections, learned important lessons, or experienced moments of beauty you didn't fully appreciate at the time. The journey teaches us to savor the present, because these moments, messy, imperfect, and unplanned, are where real life unfolds. Lesson 3. Fulfillment comes from the present, not the future. We often tell ourselves, I'll be happy when ... double quotes, when I get the promotion, when I buy the house, when I finally reach my dream. But here's the truth. If you're always chasing the future, you'll miss the joy that's available right now. Fulfillment comes from living in the present moment, appreciating where you're and who you're becoming along the way. This is the essence of mindfulness, being fully engaged in the now instead of worrying about what's next. Practical tips to stay grounded in the now. Practice gratitude. Start or end your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. These can be small, like a kind word from a friend, or a beautiful sunset. Gratitude shifts your focus to the present and helps you appreciate the journey. Celebrate small wins. Instead of waiting for the big achievement, celebrate the steps you're taking along the way. Did you finish a tough workout? Land a small client? Acknowledge those moments. Pause and reflect. Take time to step back and reflect on how far you've come. Journaling or quiet moments of meditation can help you recognize your growth and progress. Disconnect from comparison. Limit your time on social media and stop measuring your progress against others. Focus on your journey, not theirs. When you embrace the present, you unlock a sense of peace and contentment that's not tied to external success. You learn to find joy in the process, and that joy becomes the fuel that carries you forward. Real-life stories and testimonies. Personal story. Let me share my own journey with you. There was a time in my life when I was consumed by one dream. I wanted to create something meaningful, a platform that would inspire others and make an impact. I was so focused on the end goal that I set aside everything else. I worked late nights, skipped social gatherings, and felt frustrated when progress was slow. Then, a setback hit me hard. A project I'd poured months into failed miserably. I felt lost, questioning whether the dream was even worth it. But in that moment of doubt, something shifted. I started reflecting on why I started this journey in the first place, not just for the results, but for the joy of creating, connecting, and learning along the way. I began to embrace the small wins, like a single positive comment from someone who resonated with my work. I noticed how the late nights weren't just about work. They were teaching me discipline and resilience. The challenges weren't roadblocks. They were shaping me into someone stronger. Looking back, I realized that the dream wasn't just the finish line, it was also the transformation happening in me throughout the journey. And when I finally reached a milestone, the sense of fulfillment was deeper, because I knew I had truly lived through every moment leading to it. Famous figures. Let's take a look at some well-known individuals who remind us that the process matters as much as the dream itself. J.K. Rowling. Before she became one of the most celebrated authors in the world, J.K. Rowling was a struggling single mother, rejected by 12 publishers. During those tough times, she could have given up on her dream of writing Harry Potter, but instead, she embraced the process, writing in coffee shops, drawing inspiration from her life experiences, and learning resilience through every rejection. When her book finally got published, the success wasn't just about selling millions of copies. It was about the grit and determination she developed during her journey. She once said, "Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life." Her struggles weren't a detour, they were an essential part of her story. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is often remembered for Apple's success, but his journey was anything but smooth. He was famously fired from his own company in the 1980s. Instead of letting failure define him, Jobs used that time to focus on learning, experimenting, and creating. He founded Pixar and developed new technologies that would later shape Apple's most iconic products. Jobs often spoke about valuing the craft, not just the end product. He believed in putting care and precision into every step of the process, saying, "The journey is the reward." His focus on the journey made his ultimate success not just possible, but meaningful. Now let me ask you, what's your story? Can you think of moments in your life when the journey shaped you more than the outcome? Maybe it was a time you worked toward a promotion, and along the way, you discovered unexpected strengths in yourself. Or perhaps you've been chasing a personal goal like learning an instrument or running a marathon, and you've realized it's not just about the final performance or finish line, but about the growth, discipline, and joy you found in the process. Take a moment to reflect. What obstacles have you overcome? What lessons have you learned along the way? What relationships, experiences, or moments of joy have come into your life because of the journey you're on? The beauty of life is that every single one of us has a unique story. By embracing the journey, you're creating a story worth telling, a story that's rich with meaning, growth, and connection. Practical strategies for embracing the journey. Mindset shifts. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism often paralyzes us, making us feel like we're not good enough unless we achieve a flawless outcome. But life isn't about being perfect, it's about progress. Every small step forward is a victory. Think of the journey like climbing a mountain. If you only focus on reaching the summit, you'll miss the beauty of the climb, the changing views, the lessons from challenges, and the satisfaction of each milestone you pass. Progress is growth, and growth is worth celebrating. Celebrate small wins. Most dreams aren't achieved in one big leap, they're built step by step. Celebrating small wins along the way keeps you motivated and reminds you that you're moving forward. For example, if you're working toward a fitness goal, don't just celebrate when you reach your ideal weight. Celebrate showing up for workouts, running a little farther, or lifting a heavier weight. These small wins are proof that you're on the right path, and they deserve recognition. Daily practices. Journaling gratitude for current moments. Gratitude is a powerful tool for staying grounded in the present. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be big things. Maybe you enjoyed a great cup of coffee, had a meaningful conversation, or took a small step toward your goal. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here, helping you appreciate the journey. Reflecting on lessons learned each day. Every day has something to teach us, but we often miss the lessons because we're so busy looking ahead. Take a few minutes to reflect. What went well today? What didn't go as planned? And what can you learn from it? How did you grow today? This simple practice helps you see the value in each day, even the challenging ones, and keeps you connected to your progress. Vision adjustment. Treat dream as a compass, not a destination. Dreams are like compasses, they give you direction, but they're not meant to be rigid destinations. When you treat your dream as a compass, you allow yourself to be guided while staying open to the twists and turns along the way. For instance, if your dream is to start a business, don't get so fixated on one specific plan that you miss other opportunities. Be open to learning, adapting, and discovering new possibilities that may lead to something even greater than you imagined. Stay flexible and open to unexpected paths. Life rarely unfolds exactly as we plan. Sometimes, what feels like a detour is actually the best part of the journey. Staying flexible means embracing change and trusting that even setbacks can lead to something meaningful. For example, imagine someone whose dream is to become a writer. Along the way, they face rejection after rejection from publishers. Instead of giving up, they decide to self-publish or start a blog, and in doing so, they discover a whole new audience they wouldn't have reached otherwise. Flexibility isn't about giving up on your dream. It's about staying open to different ways of achieving it and finding joy in the process. By shifting your mindset, adopting daily practices, and adjusting your vision, you can learn to embrace the journey and find fulfillment in every step. Interactive Ingenton reflection questions. Now, let's take a moment to pause and reflect. I want you to think about these 2 questions and be honest with yourself. What part of your journey are you neglecting? Are you so focused on the finish line that you've stopped noticing the small, beautiful moments happening right now? Maybe it's the relationships you've built along the way, the skills you're developing, or even the simple joys of daily progress. What's being overlooked because you're too focused on the future? How can you enjoy the process more? What small changes can you make to savor the journey? Perhaps it's being more mindful of your daily actions, celebrating the small wins, or finding gratitude in the lessons learned through challenges. What can you do today to make the journey feel more meaningful? Take a moment to reflect on these questions, and if you feel comfortable, write your answers down or share them in the comments below. You might be surprised by what you discover. 1 week challenge. I want to leave you with a challenge, a simple but powerful experiment. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to shift your focus. Instead of obsessing over your end goal, commit to fully embracing the journey. Here's how. Each morning, set an intention to appreciate the process that day. Throughout the day, celebrate small wins, whether it's finishing a task, learning something new, or simply showing up. Each evening, reflect on what you enjoyed, what you learned, and how you grew that day. If you're working toward a fitness goal, focus on how good you feel after each workout, not just the final result. If it's a career goal, notice how each task builds your skills and confidence. Whatever your dream may be, find joy in the steps you're taking to get there. At the end of the week, look back and notice how this shift in perspective has changed the way you see your journey. If it's made a difference, keep going, because life isn't just about reaching the dream. It's about living every moment along the way. Take the challenge, embrace the journey, and let me know how it transforms your mindset. I'm cheering you on. Conclusion and closing inspiration. As we wrap up, let's revisit the heart of what we've explored today. Your dream is powerful. It gives you direction, motivation, and purpose. But the journey, that's where the magic happens. The journey is where you grow, learn, and truly live. By embracing the process, celebrating the small wins, and staying present, you'll discover that the journey itself can be just as rewarding as the dream you're chasing. After all, life is not a race to the finish line. It's the moments, experiences, and lessons that make it meaningful. Final encouragement. Let me leave you with this thought. The joy is in the journey, not just the destination. Or, as Proverbs 16:9 beautifully puts it, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. This reminds us that while we might dream and plan, the true beauty lies in the steps we take along the way, the ones that God carefully guides, shaping us for something even greater than we can imagine. Before we close, let me share one last story. There's a man named John who had a dream of running his own business. For years, he worked tirelessly, pouring every ounce of energy into achieving his goal. But no matter how hard he tried, success seemed out of reach. One day, John decided to stop fixating on the end goal and started focusing on the people he met along the way, the customers, the mentors, the peers who offered wisdom and support. He began appreciating the small wins, like mastering a new skill or solving a customer's problem. Years later, John finally achieved his dream. But he said something surprising. What I treasure most isn't the business I built, it's the person I became while building it. The relationships, the lessons, and the joy I found in each step made the destination worthwhile. John's story is a reminder that the journey isn't a distraction, it's the main event. Thank you so much for joining me today and allowing me to be part of your journey. I hope this message has inspired you to see your own path with fresh eyes and renewed gratitude. I'd love to hear your reflections. What part of your journey are you starting to appreciate more? How will you embrace the process moving forward? Share your thoughts in the comments, or send me a message. I'd be honored to hear your story. And remember, every step you take is shaping you into someone extraordinary. Keep going, embrace the journey, and trust that the best is yet to come. See you next time.